The dictionary says intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. What is intuition? Is it a voice from angels or our Creator? Is it your higher self throwing you hints from beyond, showing you the way? Sometimes in our daily lives we get bogged down by other people's dogma, and we stop following our own intuition. Our intuition invites us to be who we really are. If you're not following your intuition, you are not following your true path, your true desires. Your higher self, or the higher power that is feeding you intuition, is aware of all there is to know about you, your life, and your desires. You are more powerful than you think. In the background, your subconscious is constantly processing your environment. Even though you aren't aware of it, it's looking and searching and filing through all the days of your life that has led you to this moment. This moment of intuition where your higher self knows better than you the path that you need to take. It may nudge you, it may remind you, and sometimes, very often and constantly, especially if you aren't listening to it. Intuition is a gift. It can save you. It can help lead your life in a different direction where you may discover beautiful things that you never dreamed possible. You may meet people that you would never have met and go places you never would have gone. Intuition is telling you exactly what your soul needs. We must listen. In order to fulfill all of our hopes and dreams, we must consider what our inner self is saying, and that is intuition. It is a beautiful gift. Sometimes intuition comes as a surprise and a shock. It's not always a peaceful whispering. Sometimes intuition is feeding you information you may not be conscious of, even though it's staring you in the face every day. In the day-to-day, you may not realize things that are happening to you. And then comes intuition to the rescue, feeding you the knowing. Thank God. Feeding you the path, helping you along the way. Yes, this is a blessing in disguise, and it's truly a gift. Intuition. Sometimes intuition comes as a thoughtful suggestion for a nice gesture. When this comes in, don't ignore it. It's what feeds your soul. How can you help humanity? What can you do to help someone in need? I saw a homeless lady sitting outside of Starbucks one day when I was on my way in to pick up a drink for me and my girls when we were on our way out for the day to have fun together. She reminded me of the lady from the classic Christmas movie Home Alone. You know, the lady in Central Park with all the birds. She looked just like that lady, but we're in the Southern California desert and she looked very desert-worn. You can tell that she had lived outside for quite some time. She had a really big cart that had wheels on it. She took it everywhere and she was wrapped in a big thick blanket, which is probably her bed at night. I noticed her when I walked into the Starbucks, and I had the intuition to help her. Immediately, I started thinking about what I could do to help her. I knew that she was standing right in front of a pizza shop, and the pizza shop was open. I knew right away before I walked out with my mobile order with my drinks that I was going to go into that pizza shop and get that lady an entire pizza and some bottles of water. My intuition told me this. I didn't have to figure it out. I was fed this information. I was basically told what to do. All I did was pay attention and listen. Yes, I was on my way to spend the day doing something fun, but intuition told me that I needed to help this lady, and there's no way I was going to ignore this directive. I could not pull away from that parking spot after being told what to do and leave that lady in the dark. There's no way that was happening. I put the drinks in the car and went right into the pizza shop and ordered her a large pepperoni pizza. I got a few bottles of water and brought them both out and handed them to her as directed. She was overjoyed, so happy that she wouldn't have to worry about finding something to eat that day and maybe even for a couple days. It warmed my heart to do this for her. More than that, it warmed my heart that I listened to Spirit. I listened to God, and I helped that lady that day. It's the least I could do. Another example of intuition I've had that's been very positive is when I took a trip to Jamaica. I had the intuition to visit the local school there. I also had the intuition to bring an entire suitcase full of school supplies that I knew the kids would love. Boy, was I surprised when I got to the school. It was packed full of Jamaican kids with desks packed together with indoor and outdoor side-by-side schoolrooms that just had one makeshift wall between them made out of wood boards, just slats that somebody had just put together. Coming from the United States, I certainly have never seen a school like that before, with desks crammed together, kids having to climb over other desks just to get down into their seat. It made me wonder how there could be people that live on the island that have lots of money that don't do more for that school. I certainly have the intuition to build an entire new school for them. But I hope that they're happy with my suitcase full of supplies. Today, I am wearing the dress that I wore that day when I visited the school. When I was touring the school and greeting the students in the classroom, they were allowed to ask me questions, and I was allowed to ask them questions, and we talked quite a bit. I went around student to student and greeted each one personally. One of them asked me if I was a princess. I'm not a princess, but I certainly felt like one after that. My intuition was to take supplies that were much needed to this beautiful school with these beautiful children and gift it to them with all of my heart. I expected nothing in return, but my heart left completely full. They were running up to me and hugging me and grabbing my legs, asking me not to leave, treating me so special and with so much love. Even though they just met me, they could feel my love. We fed each other's heart that day. It was an experience I'll never forget. And when I go back again, I'll be bringing an extra suitcase full of fun stuff with me. They told me exactly what they want, and I made notes. One day I'll be going there with a bunch of soccer balls and jump ropes. That's what they asked for. My intuition to bring the suitcase to the school and visit with the children that day was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. It made a lasting imprint on my heart. It definitely imprinted me for life, and I'm sure it imprinted the children that I interacted with that day. I had a lot of meaningful conversations with those kids, and I'll never forget it. So I don't know if you're familiar with the science of mind, but the science of mind is part of the Centers for Spiritual Living. And there's a book that goes with it called The Science of Mind. It's an old book. This is an old version. I actually love to order old original versions of my favorite books. This one was printed in 1938, just to give you an idea of when this book was created and printed. I mean, it was printed then, but this information was created long before that time. I can't recommend this enough. And if you have a Centers for Spiritual Living church around you, can't recommend it enough. In the Science of Mind book, Ernest Holmes talks about intuition. He says there are 3 ways by which we gather knowledge: through science, opinion, and intuition or illumination. We should think of our spirit as being some part of the universal spirit and of our minds as open to the divine influx as any specific knowledge must come from the center of all knowledge. Powerful. Whenever and wherever the mind of man is open to the divine and flux, it will receive instruction directly from the center and source of all. That's pretty powerful too. Let's take a look at what some of our greats have said about this. There's our dictionary. The ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. This is a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I don't know if you're familiar with Emerson or not, but he was an amazing philosopher who wrote so many wonderful pieces, essays, they call them, and they're all free. So I know on Amazon and a lot of the other book services, you can get his books for free, the digital version. You can download those and read them. He's fascinating. I love him so much. And here's what he said. There are many virtues in books, but the essential value is the adding of knowledge to our stock by the record of new facts, and better by the record of intuitions, which distribute facts, and are the formulas which supersede all histories. Powerful. And then we have a quote here from Steve Jobs. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. That's key, right? Courage to follow your intuition. What is your intuition telling you?